Welcome to the Paulcast episode 6. We got a sign this week.
We do. Well, we had the sign in the first one, but it's changed lettering now.
It's changed lettering.
It's
Actually, it's
lettering.
really announced. Our little man. We need you to comment below. We want to name him. We haven't come up with a name for him yet. So perhaps we can get a name for this guy.
We'll get more nicknames.
We're gonna go with Smokin' Joe, not Frazier, but Smokin' Joe for right now.
Yeah.
If you've got better ideas, you can let us know sort of what you think of that.
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead
Jim.
and go with that. I got to start off. If you're new to the podcast, the way that we do this each and every week. My name is Paul. You probably know me from the letters that are in the channel that say Paul Scott.
Well, how about that?
Happens to be me. This is Red. He is our video producer extraordinaire and my co-host of the podcast as well. And we talk about music, film, making of videos, and all kinds of fun stuff in that regard. But we also play horrific games of billiards while we do it as our way to get this done. And I start out with I usually break just to get things going horribly, but we'll see how that goes, and then we'll get into this week's episode.
Sounds good to me, buddy.
You ready?
What's
that?
Behind the second diamond.
I am behind the second.
No, you're not.
This is not a goalpost.
Yeah, all right.
You feel better?
Thank you.
Big difference in the way I shoot.
Hey!
And I got one in.
All right.
I'm already stripes. If you haven't seen last week's, it was an epic break.
Oh, yes.
The way that the ball jumped off the table and toward the camera was, I don't know
3
many
weeks in a row
pros that could actually do that and get to happen what I had happen there. So I'm going to try and shoot this stripe
I think you should.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I'd like you to tell us why is it new lighting? Why do you seem fluorescent to me today? What's going on there?
So I seem fluorescent, not because I am fluorescent, but actually more because I'm a peakish salmon color, I think is more of a way to describe it. But I similarly to what I did for the 4th of July, I went with my girlfriend to the lake house that her parents have.
Yeah.
And we, on the 4th, we were good. We really thought that we had done the sunscreen appropriately. We were like, all right, that's the game plan. Next time we go out there, we're doing that same thing. I applied sunscreen 5 times.
5 times.
And it did not matter because being on the lake...
You have to let that stuff soak in.
Yes.
You can't just put it on and then go dive right in the water.
I'm well aware. We did that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, from being out on the lake from about 10 o'clock in the morning till about 5 o'clock in the evening, I've become a color that I think is only comparable to the inside of a fish.
We will let you keep your shirt on.
Yep.
And yeah, it's I thought maybe it was some new lighting or something.
No, I wish. I'm being lit from my own skin.
Well,
unfortunately.
Each episode we talk about, some current events as well,
Yes.
just kind of right up front before we kind of get into our topic of the day or whatever. But speaking of red skin,
yes.
my beloved team, for better or worse,
yes.
the Washington Redskins are no more.
They're still a team. They're just not that name.
They're still Washington. They're just on Monday. That name was officially retired after 87 years, and so I posted about it on Instagram and Facebook, and put up so y'all can go check that stuff out too. Put up a video of me and Joe Gibbs, legendary coach.
Freddie Gibb?
Joe Gibbs.
Joe Gibbs.
And not Billy Gibbs either. But anyway, Joe Gibbs of Joe Gibbs Racing. And he let me put on the Super Bowl ring and all that. So I grew up a huge Redskin fan.
Yes.
My grandfather...
I think you would have your skin painted in that logo if possible.
I don't have the tattoo, but I probably...
You should.
I guess now it's a good thing I should.
Now is the time, yeah.
Maybe before, but I
think it'll be vintage.
Yeah.
You can sell it after you die.
My skin?
Yeah, people
The
do that.
tattoo?
That's a real thing.
Well, that's for another episode.
Okay.
That's too weird. But yeah, my grandfather used to have season tickets. My dad I'd either go with my grandfather or my grandfather would give the season tickets to my dad. And so I've been going to Redskin games since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Grew up in the Northern Virginia area, and, we were 30, 40 minutes outside of D.C. or whatever.
Right.
And so I just grew up with that in the blood. And kind of how I put in my post, like, we would go to church on Sunday, and then we'd have football church. That was the second version of church.
Redskins was the church of football.
It was a religion in our household. And your dad is quite the Redskin fan as well. And I've been to games with him too.
Yeah.
And both our dads just love to yell at the TV.
Yeah. They bleed red and yellow.
Yes. Or burgundy and gold. But that's okay. I know. It's not, it's okay. It's burgundy and gold. Just want to make that clear. But anyway,
who colors the podcast?
Okay. So anyway, you're probably right. They probably are red and yellow. But Redskin Nation, we used to say bleed burgundy and gold, right? But anyway, it was great. I got a lot of support for my view on it, and I got some flack on it too. And that's fine. You can stand wherever you want to. But I think the main thing that I told in my story to everybody was, even though my grandfather and my dad and all these people that I've been to games with ever since I was 5, I really did feel like, you know what? It's okay, and it's a good thing that the change is coming. The team stinks anyway.
Really abysmal.
Probably needs. It's gonna help.
There's some new life
for those people that are on the fence. It's gonna help that the name's changing. But my son had a lot to do with. I had some conversations with him about it, and what was cool is with everything going on in society today, it gave me the opportunity to use football as a chance to talk about things that he would understand.
Right.
And
he's so into football. That's a great,
so he loves football. 9 years old, and to be able to use football and this to kind of go together, it made for a good thing. Totally. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing because you guys can go check that out on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and read the post if you like to. You can leave your comments there too.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. It was a big deal, but I'm looking forward to new gear. I'm looking forward to a new name. I'm looking forward to whatever's going to happen. I'm still going to support
coaching change, hopefully.
We already got that. That already happened.
Okay.
Clearly,
I don't
Red
keep up with it.
Doesn't care about sports that much, but that's okay.
I care about golf.
We got the Panthers coach. Do you know who the Panthers are?
I do.
They're a Carolina team.
Yes.
Yeah, we got their old coach, Ron Rivera. So he is now the Redskins coach.
Cool.
That happened about 3 months ago, but that's okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Feel like I don't hear that much about the Panthers being that amazing. Am I incorrect about that?
There's this guy named Cam Newton. He no longer plays
I know
for
him.
the Panthers either. Do you know who he's with now?
No.
He left and is now going to. Have you heard of Tom Brady?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, just want to make sure.
But it's funny. I know about Tom Brady way more from Seth MacFarlane and like Family Guy and like Ted than I do actual football. Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady is no longer with the Patriots.
Well, it's okay. He also kisses his son on the lips. Have you seen that video?
I'd rather not.
Disturbing.
But anyway, he's with the Bucks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. Did you know that?
No.
Oh,
that's cool. I do like the Buccaneers.
I'm sorry for all the football fans out there that are just, having to go through this.
See, this is why we work so well together, is because we're total opposites on that.
Right, that's true. So Tom Brady and Gronkowski came out of retirement. They're both at the Buccaneers, and now Cam Newton is with the Patriots.
Gotcha.
And Coach Ron Rivera is now the
Came
Washington question marks.
Yes.
Coach. And
so maybe this will be a fun game for us to play.
Okay.
Just while we're on the conversation. Mm-hmm. What would you like to see the new name become?
Ooh.
Have you thought about that yet?
I didn't touch that. I didn't touch on that in any of my posts of what I thought the new name should be or whatever.
Because there's some options.
A couple of the options that are out there is Warriors.
That's not bad.
And
a little generic.
They want to have ties to military anyway. Rivera was a military guy himself, so they wanted to have some ties to a possible military name.
Yeah,
and then Red Tails is another one that it sounds weird because I grew up with Veggie Tales. So Red Tails and Veggie Tales just sounds a little, too synonymous. But no, the Red Tails, if you know that from American history, the first African American all fighter pilot crew was called the Red Tails because their planes had red tails on them. Wow,
that's really cool.
So that's kind of got a really cool name and or reason for that. It just audibly it sounds a little weird to me.
Yeah, but
it's got a really cool meaning.
Great meaning, yeah.
And would go for and then Fred Smoot, former Redskin cornerback, he came up with
Smoot.
Oh yeah. Oh Smooty. He came up with one called the Red Wolves.
Okay.
And
what is the red
come to
thing
find
about?
out,
I don't think of
the
red as being
wolf
Nova.
Is indigenous to the DMV.
Oh really?
For those of you that don't know what DMV is, it's not Division of Motor Vehicles. It is the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia.
Yep.
And so, yeah. And so I thought, well, man, that's kind of cool. There's also no other wolves.
Yeah.
And now some people are saying, oh, that sounds like a high school football team. Nobody's the Wolves or whatever, but Red Wolves. I don't know.
Well, that's always Timberwolves. That's not
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
So that's a real, name or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm kind of. The other thing is, if it's Red Wolves, we don't have any people involved. They're not warriors. They're not Redskins. They're not Chiefs. They're not like we eliminate the whole. And that was kind of my whole deal. And just to touch for a second on what was in the post,
right?
I understand there were some stories that there's many Native Americans that this name didn't offend,
right?
And then there are some who are. And I guess my whole point,
I get it though.
And explaining and what my son is the brilliant one in this. I was talking to him about it, and he was like, well, why don't we just pick an animal or a robot or something? Yeah. Because then it doesn't offend anyone. I went, you know what?
Love the robot idea. I
was like, you're
the
brilliant.
Washington Roombas.
Yeah, they clean up real good. But no, the whole
if only
the whole point is, if you go, I think if the NFL has an opportunity to not offend somebody. That was terrible. They should have that opportunity because even if one person's offended by your name, it's football.
Yeah.
This is not politics. Let's get back to playing football and football games and just choose a name that doesn't offend a single person.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. It's
case closed.
I don't think that it has anything to do with the football. That's the thing. When that name was chosen, it wasn't like a problem because people didn't think of it as being racist
chosen
really?
During a political time,
right?
Yeah, it was chosen.
Now it's
for power,
right? But that's the thing: the
honor,
stigma is attached to the name, regardless of if it's associated to a football team or not. It's all about the fact that you're taking someone's skin tone and making that represent their entire thing, which sucks for anybody. I mean, I don't think that we would want to be on a football team called the Tennessee Whiteys. That probably wouldn't work too well.
Yeah, probably not. Or the Sunburn Kids. That would be an option as well.
That's what it should be.
That's what
the Washington Sunburns.
Anyway, regardless of all that, I think they have a time to make an opportunity for the NFL and Washington team has a time to make some change.
Yep.
During a time when people are asking for change.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really require much.
No, it's a name change.
And they have an opportunity to get a fresh start, which that team needs anyway.
Definitely needs. Yeah.
And to be on the positive side of change. And it's football. Let's just pick an animal or a robot and move on with it and not even offend a single person. Anyway,
I agree. I think that's the way to go.
It is what it is. But did you make your shot?
No.
Not at all. So I'm striped, so I need to make a shot here.
You say that.
Let's see what you think about this.
Not much, I think is.
Let's do this. Yes, you saw it. It happened.
I'm not happy.
You saw that go in.
Normally, you are not the cunning pool player that you are today. This is.
I'm telling you,
an intensely
I've improved
different.
After 5 episodes.
That's good. Maybe that was the warm up.
That's what I needed. So, we have done some redecorating a little bit around on the set of the Paulcast here. You got one in too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Did you see that? Be proud of me.
I was very proud of you. And we decided to make a quick change because we didn't really have a lot of time between the last episode and this episode. So we're like, what can we do real quick? And so instead of wallpapering with wallpaper, we wallpapered with records. These are actual records.
Yeah, luckily I had enough to do this.
These are actual, like, opening up albums here. These are
vintage vinyl, most of them.
Yeah.
There's a couple that are like new, but
not like we found them and had, like, this was actual records we had laying around. Most of these records are not ours.
Most of them are my father's and my mother's.
Right. And some records of influences of
both of ours, honestly.
Yeah, both of ours that are really weird. You know, we grew up in some weird, I guess not weird, but
eclectic music families.
Eclectic music, and our family is I'm the baby.
Anyway.
I'm the baby by 12 years. Your dad's quite a bit older than
74 right now.
Yeah, than some other friends' fathers.
I'm 22 and my father's 74. Yeah.
So
it's different. I love it though. He's passed on so much more wisdom than like a 40 or 50-year-old father could have ever given me. So I appreciate it.
And with my brother and sister being significantly, I've said on, I think, in previous episode that I was the oops child.
Yes.
My brother grew up telling me that I was the milkman's kid and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, no.
So,
hey, but you look good, so the milkman must have been attractive.
Good-looking milkman.
He was.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so we grew up maybe old souls, I would say, both of us, in our music. That's something that we do
considering
share.
This is my collection of records.
Yeah.
Which, you know, for a 22-year-old, I think is pretty vintage.
So I got the idea of, we put this up mainly because the tapestry was falling down and
it is a little
terrible.
tattered. It had some holes in it and stuff.
Tattered tapestry.
So, some burn holes and just
and
not
the
looking
thumbtacks
good.
holding everything up. Just maybe not the best. But anyway,
at least they were clear thumbtacks. They could have been all rainbow colored and stuff.
This is true. This is true. So as we're putting these up, we had a good time kind of reliving certain albums and songs and stuff off of there. So I thought we'd talk about a couple of these.
We totally should.
And,
it's a good voice crack, by the way.
Yeah, I thought we'd talk about a couple of these.
Yeah, no.
Because these are we had an episode on influences versus influencers, and we talked about some of those influences, but obviously we didn't have a chance to get all of our influences in there. And this is certainly not all of our influences, but
this is a good portion
on a different pocket of influences that we probably didn't bring up the last time. You know, when I'm first looking at this wall, the first thing that I'm going to kind of talk about, and I'll use my pointer stick. We don't have a fancy laser because we're not like administration type business of
not yet
corporate things.
You know, once we're a Fortune 500.
Right now, the only way that I can make my point to Anthony Red Bocalese when I need to is to use my finger and just point at you very hardly. I don't have a laser pointer, or I do have this.
You do.
I guess I could do one of these. One of these. Or those.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to start off with this album right here.
That's a good one to start with.
I'm going to start out with Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. So one of the things that I love to do when I'm making tracks comes from my choral background or whatever is
layered harmonies.
Layered harmonies. And I don't think that anybody did that better during that era than the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
And Pet Sounds is just, it's a hallmark record, you know.
It's a masterclass in how to make pop music.
It really is. And the fact that they could do what they did at that time on that record was awesome.
Yeah.
From a technical point of view, one of my things that's fun anytime that makes my eyes kind of light up, my ears light up. Can your ears light up?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
When you're listening to the Beach Boys, everything lights up.
My actual ears light up when I see that record and love it, because when I went to audio engineering school, the very first console that I ever worked on and recorded through was a vintage API console that the Beach Boys recorded on.
Wow.
And so
that's crazy.
And that was at Omega Recording Studios in I want to say Rockville, Maryland. Is it Rockville? I remember the
Every
I remember
part of
exactly
Maryland
there. I'm trying
is a
to think.
rich
Anyway,
part of Maryland.
you can look it up out there if you really want to know where it is. But their room C has a 24 by 24 split console.
Wow.
That's
a big boy.
that the Beach Boys recorded on, and it's just so cool because when you learn audio engineering, like my guest Dylan that I had on a couple weeks ago, you start to learn the sound of different pieces of gear.
Right, how they colored the
I had
tone.
an all new appreciation for what that album sounds like,
Right.
and other Beach Boys albums after getting to learn to record on the same stuff that they recorded through.
Right.
And it's still probably one of my favorite sounding consoles in the world.
I believe it. Well, that's one of the best sounding records.
Best sounding records ever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go, I'll start with that one. You pick one out and tell me about
Can
it.
I have the pointer?
Are you, Oh, the pointer? Well,
Yeah.
I was going to shoot because I think it's my turn.
I'll hand point.
Okay.
Well, actually,
I
have to be near my mic.
3 or 4 in, so I wouldn't want to.
You know what? Actually, I don't want to distract from that. I'd like to watch you make your shots. Let's see here.
That one was really close. Maybe I'll get
See,
it.
you talk a good game. It's okay, so I guess for me, the one I should go to next probably is this guy right here, the Misfit Static Age.
Yeah.
So this is their first record, and it's probably considered their best. It's got their 2 biggest hits on it, which is Hybrid Moments and wow, how am I forgetting this? It's because I don't listen to it that much because it's like their biggest song. Last Caress. But it also has a song on there called 138, which I have tattooed on myself.
Oh, wow. And who did your tattoo?
I did.
That's what I thought.
I had $9 and I went to Walmart, and this is what came out of it. But what I love about that song and what I love about that whole record in general is that those guys couldn't play their instruments. They literally knew how to play the songs that they wrote.
Okay.
They swapped 3 different guitar players, played out of practice amps, and recorded them after hours at a friend's studio. And it's become the biggest punk record of all time.
Yeah.
On top of that, the whole theme of the album is about being an individual. It's about not really conforming, not to societal standards, but literally just to your own image of yourself.
Gotcha.
Because the whole record is about how different scary creatures and monsters can come into your head and your thoughts and, you know, kind of bring you away from some stuff. And the song 138 specifically is about, you know, be a human, not a robot. Don't just like follow suit because that's
Right.
what you're told. So I think it's a good reminder, and it's a good album to keep coming back to remember, like, you know what? Things don't always have to sound amazing for them to be something worth listening to, because I've listened to that record probably more than anything else on this wall.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, pass the pointer. Let's move on.
There you go.
I've been looking while you're talking.
Right.
You know what? There's so many great choices.
I know.
I'm gonna go with Santana here. I'm gonna go with 1, 2, 3, 4 Santana albums right there. You know,
we go.
It's interesting. I have a lot of guitar player friends
Right.
who are amazing guitar players. Arguably, a lot of them are technically light years above probably what Carlos could play, and he would admit that. That's
Right.
not anything, you know, he would admit.
It's about feel though for him.
Yeah, and you know, I think, and a lot of guitar players who spend so much of their time learning how to be great
Shredders.
technical players, and they're awesome, kind of don't like Carlos.
Or have
Sometimes. What's that?
feel. Or have feel.
Well, and even the ones who do, don't. He's not necessarily a guitar player's guitar player.
No.
In a lot of ways.
He's very melodic.
From that way, yes, because he's not the cleanest.
No.
There's somewhat of I would say a vocal range to what he plays.
That's very
within.
yeah.
He's
I like that.
not the whole use of the neck and all of that sort of thing. So I get that, and I
Yeah.
understand from a guitar player's point of view that, man, he just doesn't explore everything.
Right.
It's not the cleanest, not the fastest.
I don't think he wants to.
and all of that. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
And I think why I actually was drawn to him is two reasons. And growing up as an influencer, I was introduced to him well before the Supernatural albums came out.
Right.
It was actually this Amigos album that I went, oh man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is a great record.
Because I'm listening to. I love Latin music.
Yeah, me too.
I've always loved Latin music my whole life. This was a combination.
Rhythm is just unlike anything.
Yeah. And so it combined Latin music and rock and roll. So I was like, man, these are two things that I absolutely love, all in one kind of thing.
Right.
But as a vocalist as well as a guitar player, his style actually appealed to me because it is a little broken.
Yeah.
But it is so melodic.
Yeah.
And it is so just, it sings.
Yeah, it does.
It sings, and you can sing back the melodies that he's playing. And
that's so true, though, because it's honestly almost in a vocal range, too.
It is.
Like, it's a very mid-octave sort of thing most of the time. I mean, even some of the more recognizable licks that he does, like, higher up, are more in, like, a middle sort of cutting area for a guitar solo.
So he grew up playing violin first,
Interesting.
And so transferred from violin over to guitar. And as you well know, 2 years ago I got to meet Carlos and hang out with him for a while. It's pretty awesome. And I felt like I'd met Yoda of guitar.
Oh, I bet.
He was just full of this Zen aura that just fills the room about him, and then just wisdom of life and music, and he's just a great person.
He really seems like that.
Yeah, on top of being a vocalist on guitar, I feel like he really uses the guitar to get across his emotion and his singing through the instrument. As opposed to worrying about being the best necessarily.
That probably has something
I feel
to
like
do.
all of those things have a place.
Totally.
Yeah. And so that was one of the reasons I was drawn to all four of those records.
Well, and those are all fantastic Santana albums.
Yeah. Take another
shoot. We don't have one up there that I really enjoy.
What's that?
The White Wedding album thing that he did. Do you know
that
what
was
I'm
Billy
talking
Idol.
about? No, not that.
Oh.
It's not.
It's for a
White Wedding. It's not actually called that, but it's his album. It's got like a wedding dress on the front, and it's a white cover, and I think it's mostly instrumentals. It's a really good album. I can't remember the title of it though. It's great though.
Cool.
So the next one I have to go with.
Yeah, pick another one.
I actually kind of need you to do the pointer for me.
Boy, it's far over here.
Yeah, can you guess which one it might be?
No, I know which one it is. I'm not sure the camera can get this in the shot. It's way back here in the corner, folks.
Yes, it is.
It's this record right here, The Black Cat.
So,
oddly enough, I'll talk about the one underneath of it now.
There we go.
Which I guess we need to relocate
the table
records.
or that. So, Cats is a Broadway musical, and I happen to have a vinyl of
really?
Yeah, of the original cast doing it. So here's the thing. If you know Broadway stuff, Cats is pretty much universally hated by everyone who's in Broadway or theater, just because it kind of is what it is.
Or people just don't like cats in general. You have dog people and then you have cat people.
That too. But for me, I grew up watching the live movie version of Cats, like since I was 2 years old, and was Mr. Mistopheles for Halloween, like when I was a kid and stuff. And those songs have just stuck with me forever.
I was the Incredible Hulk for Halloween.
We had very different childhoods, my friend.
The true story. Hold on, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I was like 8 years old, and my mom bought me the Kmart Incredible Hulk plastic, like thin plastic sweat sticks it to your face with the single rubber band holding it on and the plastic suit. Dude, I probably lost 10 pounds, but it worked out great because I was really fat as a kid anyway. And I ate a bunch of candy that night. So I basically lost all my candy weight as I was getting the free candy.
Yes.
It worked out fantastic.
We need that for adults.
Yes, we do. So it worked out great. And I actually have an audio recording somewhere that my mom recorded of me getting ready, because I was so excited about this Incredible Hulk Halloween costume.
Hulk smash.
And I was like, I'm so mean, I scare myself. And that's what people, when I'd go to the door,
right?
I'd say trick or treat, and they go, "Oh, are you the Incredible Hulk? Aren't you cute?" And I go, "I'm so mean, I scare myself."
That's really funny.
I said it like James Brown for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why that affectation was.
But I just now said it that way because that's how I said it when I was 8 years old.
Did you think that the Incredible Hulk was related to James Brown?
Might have
was
been.
that his last name? The Incredible Hulk Brown?
Hulk Brown. Hulk Brown. Maybe that's what we named this guy, Hulk Brown.
Hulk Brown.
I don't know. Smoking Joe's still pretty cool.
It's cool.
Comment below what we're going to name this guy, please, if you haven't done so already. Yeah. Anyway, I totally interrupted you.
So anyway, all I was going to say was that over the years, I've gotten to really have a chance to analyze some of my favorite Broadway musicals, and I've just decided that I really enjoy Andrew Lloyd Webber's writing. He just does a good job. I love his arrangements.
I would have to agree with you on a lot of that. Part of my schooling and education was also musical theater,
right,
and that sort of thing. And I got to do one of the very first introductions to me was Phantom of the Opera,
right? Which honestly was the first DVD I ever bought, for myself. So I'm right there with you on that one.
I got to see the Phantom and sing that stuff, and he definitely has a knack for memorable stuff.
Yeah, his arrangements are melodic in every part of the structure, which I find to be interesting. The drum licks are memorable. The guitars are interesting. The way that they interplay with the violins and stuff. You always have like a nice string melody that floats through everything.
You see the pointer.
There you are.
I feel like after all this musical theater talk and interplay with violins and guitars, we need to go over and get that.
Oh,
Highway to Hell.
Yes, sir.
AC/DC. Complete opposite. Turn it up to 11. Blowing up amps.
Yes. And this is
probably
when it was
some of my
AC/DC.
favorite guitar tone ever created is on that album. And
the only man to make an SG not sound tinny. Him and Derek Trucks. Those are the only two.
Exactly. I was just about to say Derek Trucks plays a pretty mean SG.
Yeah.
But that album, I love that it is also the theme for like School of Rock and all that sort of stuff, because like when you say rock and roll,
you think that
AC/DC is that, and that album is This Is Rock and Roll.
Yeah, that is
if you
balls
had to pick
music.
An album that summed up rock and roll, the tones of it. It's so funny, like, for guitarists, when we get like when we're working in the digital realm of recording on our laptops or getting there's digital devices that take the place of amps for silent recording, and they have what's called preset patches and stuff like that. When we look up these preset tones, you almost always see an AC/DC version of an amp or a Highway to Hell preset, spelled all quirky so they don't get sued for the name.
Highway to hockey sticks.
Yeah, exactly. So, when I think of the anti-musical theater, and think of the era of rock that it's so sad that you rarely turn on a radio on a car anywhere and hear just authentic rock and roll.
Maybe Muse is the only band on the radio still like that.
Thank God for AC/DC and the Highway to Hell. Did you see how I worked that out? Thank God for the Highway to Hell.
I like it.
Because tones that just... There's something special about a car radio when you're cranking that song and that album, that those speakers just... They don't get loud enough.
I know.
And it's
there's like a warmth to that too. That like breakup of the radio with that song.
It's exciting to just, I look at that album, I get excited. I want to go either, I don't know, go work out.
Yeah, right.
Very aggressively or drive really fast.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that I think.
One of those will get you in trouble.
Yes. All right. Pick another.
All right. So I guess I have some of the more eclectic taste of what's going on here. I could go to some very easy choices that are obviously still influences, but one of the ones I'm the most proud of is probably the Mothers of Invention, Frank Zappa. That record for me is like super foundational. Like, I guess that my whole life until I was about 13, I had been used to kind of classic rock radio and the format that came along with that. And, kind of being in that, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, second verse, kind of, just very structured radio friendly classic rock sort of thing. And Zappa was the first person that I think really illuminated for me musically that you didn't have to care about what the record label thought. You didn't have to care about what your producer thought. He just went in and recorded what he wanted to do, and you could either like it or not. And I'm just one of those people that loves it. I love the quirkiness of his lyrics. I love the parody-esque way that he does social commentary. It's very camp, but at the same time, it's also incredibly technical and arranged in such a way that a jazz musician would sit there and listen to it and pick out things that they love about it. But to a normal pop sort of audience, you can also find some really interesting things in there that speak on different levels of society and monetary value and, the interplay of being a garage rock performer, but also having sort of a high-minded ambition on things. And he does a lot of things that I think are not only ahead of their time, but also have not been replicated by any other artist.
No, in fact, one of the reasons I like that album for you is that your dad was a musician.
Yeah.
And that's his Frank Zappa record, and you have an appreciation for that.
It is the first record I listened to. One of the other musicians
that I know that can do what Frank Zappa does is his son.
Right, yeah.
And
he's good, too.
So there's a parallel kind of between that. It's a very teachable album.
It is.
So without a doubt.
It is.
Well, let me see the cue stick. We're going to keep moving through a few of these.
They are.
So one of the things I was trying to think of as well, I looked up and I couldn't help but see. I'm not going to spend much time on this. I'm going to pick a couple this time, just to boom through a few.
Totally.
But if you're going to talk about rock and roll, you also got to talk about rock and roll.
Yeah.
And Van Halen. I mean, gosh, anyone
that one in particular? Oh my God.
Yeah. And I mean, Eddie. Pretty much. So I've got a buddy. His name's Adam McCown.
Oh, yes.
And Adam actually did his room in the Eddie Van Halen stripes. He knows everything about Eddie.
Yeah.
He has Eddie's guitars. He would
wear an Eddie Van Halen skin suit if he could.
He is the only person I know that took the Ford emblem on his truck and got it done in Eddie Van Halen stripes on the front of his truck. Adam's a good guitar player too, but he literally
lives the Van Halen.
That's his boy.
Yeah,
and I get it because Eddie was so influential. I endorsed Fender's version of the Eddie Van Halen Wolfgang for
and
a couple
Wolfgang
years.
Is good
and a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, I really love
his
those.
time, and still play the 5150 amps as well. The newer versions of them, they're the ones that Eddie's worked with Fender on.
Those are good,
fantastic amplifiers. Just incredible in so many ways. And I don't know that anyone influenced guitar for longer than Eddie Van Halen.
No, he took stake on that.
And just absolutely incredible. But with all of that said,
terrible
I spent
dancer.
A lot of time I spent a lot of my time in my career as a frontman.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anybody did it better than David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
And
Sammy Hagar certainly didn't.
Sammy might have sung better.
He did. But man, I like some of the songs better.
David Lee Roth. I have a funny story. You know how I love to tell my stories, right? That's kind of what this podcast is about, anyway.
It's just so you can tell your stories.
Telling stories. That's right. It's just an excuse to tell me stories.
You don't have grandchildren yet, so this is it.
So Scots are known for telling stories. So I'll give you a wee bit story here.
No, a wee bit story
to tell you. My drummer, who's now my brother-in-law, back in the time, Brian Carter, he was playing for me when I was doing some stuff back about 10 years ago. And so we were out on tour and we're doing some stuff. And I was crazy. Like
we know.
I'd run all around and again, I was influenced by David Lee Roth as a front man, Freddie Mercury as a front man,
strap phase,
David Bowie, who's down here as a front man.
Poor David
all
Bowie.
Great. I know he got low. I didn't really like his singing very much, but he's a great front man.
No, hold on.
We'll get back to him. I know he's more in your favorite camp, but anyway. So I'm talking about energy, basically between Freddie Mercury and David Lee Roth.
Yes.
Is in just owning a stage as a frontman of a band. So that was more of my vibe sort of thing.
Totally.
With a little bit of Garth Brooks and Tim McGraw swagger.
I would say
in.
you had some Bon Jovi in there too.
Definitely some Bon Jovi. Yeah. But literally, I'd have to put David Lee Roth at the top of a probably a frontman conveying the music to the audience. Animated wise,
he just let it bleed through.
So my story is, I used to love to get up on the drum riser.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this one night, I gotta think about how I'm gonna tell this story because I don't know if I want to tell every piece of it. But I get up on the drum riser, and you know, David Lee Roth was known for running and doing the splits, right? What he didn't,
I can do that. By the way,
what he didn't usually do. I could, but if you know from last week's episode, I had a scooter accident, so I'm not going to try it right now. I really feel like I should show people that I can do it.
I do too.
But I'm still sore from the scooter accident. Maybe on a different episode, I'll do some running splits. Yeah. You know, but anyway, so that was his move. I don't even remember the song,
right?
But I do remember that. I wanted to do that, and it just was in my head. This is a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get up on the drum riser that's 8 feet tall.
I think I know where this is going.
I'm going to run off the drum riser after I've banged out with a drumstick with him and done all that stuff or whatever. And I'm going to jump off the drum riser, and I'm going to do the splits in the air.
Why not?
A la David Lee Roth. Yeah. People are going to go nuts. So I do it. I run. I do my splits. And everybody goes nuts. The only problem was, fortunately, no one saw this. My pants split when I did the splits.
So they went nuts for your nuts.
They went nuts. Exactly. These were very, they're
tight pants.
The funny thing about skinny jeans, and when there's spandex mixed in with cotton or however they make those things,
it's like 2% spandex.
It was a stretchier jean. Yeah.
It gives the illusion of...
They're not very durable, I found out.
No, sir.
Wranglers, you can wear those forever, right?
And look terrible.
But at least you're not going to expose yourself.
You're not naked, yeah.
So I did... It was a very quick splits. Yes. So no one saw anything. I didn't have a whole lot of hang time. Unlike your Jordan shirt there. It wasn't like I was...
Yeah, right. Here we are.
So there's no exposure involved. But when I came down, I knew what happened.
Yep.
And so you do your splits, you come down, and you're at the microphone, and you're like, oh, I normally stand like this. Yep, not going to have to do that. So I'm like just really into it with my knees as close together as possible. And
so
then
did you
there comes a part in the song.
Did you send him out the back?
No. So then I come over to it's the outro of the song or whatever. Mm-hmm. I come over to my keyboard player and I go, I got to get my pants changed. That's all I had time to tell him why. He probably thought I pooped myself.
Right.
But I was like, I got to go change my pants.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do the next 1 to 2 songs. Because my bus RV sort of thing that I had out back at the time was a good 200 yards away from
So you had to
backstage.
run balls out.
So I had to run to go get some clothes back on.
Only you.
Change my pants. They come in, they're finishing up the second song, and I walk right on like I'm supposed to be there. Like it was all part of the show that I let
the costume change.
Take over for a couple songs, and I just had a little costume change. So from that point
Did you change the shirt too?
I don't remember.
Because that could be conspicuous.
Okay. But from that point on, Brian referred to me as the David Lee Roth of country music.
I like it.
I kind of liked it.
I
It
do
kind of
too.
stuck for a while. And sad that it had to come from me
Ripping
splitting
your
my
pants.
pants. And
I have an
Instead of being
anecdote
cool,
that I think will make you feel better about that situation.
what's that?
It's also happened to a much more famous musician named Slash.
Really?
There is video
Someone
on
slashed his pants?
No, there's video on YouTube of this. He's just wearing like gym shorts,
Yeah.
and he was just really drunk and didn't notice, and then just mid show looks down, and then he goes into the mic and goes, "I need some new pants. I've split them," and just like shows his junk to the audience, and then just walks off stage. Of course, he's
Wow.
Slash, and he can just
He can
kind of
get
do
away.
that, but
He's such a rock star icon.
It's ridiculous.
He can pretty much do that. And go.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen his paintings?
they're weird as can be.
They're yeah.
Have you seen his Instagram account?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
They'll post
those are
on
like
there.
reshared, but
Yeah.
his actual paintings are similar vein.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's always reposting like Dracula, like about to like
Yeah.
suck on a
Yeah.
big blonde girl.
Anyway, we're gonna keep this PG for the moment here.
You
but,
can find his Instagram account if interested.
so that was the Van Halen side of things. I forgot where I
There
was
you go,
going to go
rope it
next. So
back
I'm going
in.
to let you pick another one because
Okay.
we talked on Van Halen longer than I thought.
Yep, get me the stick. There we go. So, okay, let's see here. So many choices. We have such a collection of records here. I think really another one that is heavily influential just to me personally is I doubt that you'll talk about this one. But this one right here, Earth, Wind and Fire. Now this is just the best of, but I've listened to pretty much every record they've
You
ever put
stole
out.
my next album.
Oh, was that really what you were going to go
So
for?
we can talk about it together. You go.
Yeah,
go
let's
ahead, finish
mutually
up.
talk about it. So, ever since I was a kid, the only band that my dad plays in the car really is Carlos Santana and Earth, Wind and Fire.
Right.
And I think I have their entire discography memorized at this point, like back to front, every song. And I do not know of a more fun band, a more technically cool band. All of their imagery is like about ancient aliens and stuff like that, and like very Egyptian and fun in that way. But really what gets me about it is that they were able to be funky, but still have really technical arrangements.
Oh, unbelievable.
And the harmonies and the utility that they have between the different players is incredible, because not one of those guys can't sing. Like literally all of them can sing. All of them have rhythm. They put on an incredible stage show. For my money, Earth, Wind and Fire is probably in my top 3 bands ever
all time,
of
yeah.
all time.
It would be hard to argue with that. I don't think anyone made more fun
No.
music than them. They instantly put you in a great mood.
You're just so happy. Yeah.
What was so crazy to me about their albums is that horn parts are often a lot like vocal parts.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, they use their horns like a choir.
Yeah.
And
They really did.
And it all the echoes, and it was like going to a
Yeah.
gospel church, or something.
Totally.
To when they would pull all that stuff, their horns were not just a layer or something to have in the band.
Right.
They were part of the band.
They were purposeful.
Along with funkiest bass player ever. And just amazing vocals, like you said, all arranged,
Yeah.
extremely brilliant, but
Naturally.
so lighthearted
Yeah.
at the same time, and how they performed it, and just every song.
Every
that
song
way.
is good.
There's
Yeah.
not a song that there wasn't the same amount of effort put into.
So even their more
And-
down songs,
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter, because if you are listening from like a musical perspective, there are interesting things from beginning to end of pretty much every track they ever put out.
I never even liked the month of September until I heard
Right.
them saying that. I didn't know why it was an important month. And
So this will be an interesting one. What is your favorite Earth, Wind and Fire song? Because mine's a little bit different. Mine is not like the standard answer for that. Mine is Fantasy.
That's where I was going to go. We
Okay.
actually did Fantasy as a show choir tune when I was.
I bet that was incredible. Those runs that he does are insane. Yeah.
And our choral director at the time was a jazz band director.
Right.
So all the horn parts
We're like spot on.
were spot on. It actually was pretty incredible. And that's part of. I was trying to go between it because September, I really do love
it's
that
just
song.
classic, groove.
I actually love their interludes that they do.
They
and that
do
was one of the
some
things I was
great
talking about. Like,
interludes.
Boston is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Totally.
And they did lots. That's back when
they're
they made
good.
albums.
Yeah.
And there were interludes in between the songs
Totally.
and stuff. They were the only sort of funk band that did that on their albums as well. And I was like,
because
this
they're
is so
storytellers
cool.
too, along with it, which is really cool.
Well, cool choice. I don't
Hold
have to
on.
pick it, so that gives me another one. Oh, you got
quick.
something else? Yeah.
While we're on that topic of conversation, I just have to mention that Bootsy Collins, along with that kind of era of like real funk and good stuff. Bootsy, like I wish I had a record to show for him because he was another just huge influence for me.
Yeah, and let me make that clear. There's so many other. These are not necessarily our favorite people.
Right.
It's just records that we happen to have.
Right.
But obviously some of them are our favorites too.
Right.
And yeah, I know. I'm looking up here and I'm going, oh, I wish I had this record.
Yeah,
to look
I'm
at.
like, I don't have any Parliament or
I
anything like
mentioned
that.
Freddie Mercury,
Yeah.
and like I will never to this day forget my brother having like the Queen album. I can see the cover of
dude
it,
with the
and We Are the
stone
Champions
guy,
is on
yeah.
there, and the robot face or whatever.
I mean,
and
it's like something the world, but I
the
can't
album
remember
covers
what
were
the
so
name
cool
is.
back
They
then
really
anyway.
were.
But he that was
Honestly,
his,
all of these
that
are
was
really
his
neat looking.
wrestling teams, football teams song, and they play all the time. And that got me into all the other Queen songs because of We Are the Champions.
Well, and talk about arranging.
Oh,
that's a band that like
and frontman. I mean, it doesn't get much better.
it really
than
doesn't.
that. But let me. There was a place I was gonna go.
There you go.
And I'm trying.
Maybe
to
one more of
remember
these, and then
where
we
it
go
was.
back to pool for a little bit.
Yeah, whose shot is it?
I couldn't tell you at this point.
I couldn't tell you. But
I think we'll play rock paper scissors for that one.
We'll figure it out. I have to at least talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
10
more albums before I could feel good about even
moving
letting
on.
this podcast
I think
go.
you should.
So I'm going to go through
run them
quickly.
down.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go through them real quickly. One, my eye keeps getting drawn back to it, is the Men at Work album.
Yeah,
So
odd band.
I don't come from the land down under,
No.
but I have been.
Yes,
And so I got to go to Australia for the first time
with the low cash.
and we got to experience all kinds of fun there. Best coffee in the world.
Yeah.
Best,
They have the best soil for it, honestly, because it's so
best
tropical.
calamari
Yeah.
I've ever eaten.
Oh,
And we just had fun. We were like kids in a candy store there the whole time.
that's awesome.
That was not a JoJo Siwa reference. But
Oh, I might have to punch you.
yeah,
now.
I know. I probably deserve it. But anyway,
You just took everything you said back with
all
that
my cool's
reference.
gone. I just killed it all. Yeah, this album, I can't tell you. When my sister got that album, she would drive me around in her car with her friends and played that album.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool. Who is this? You know?
Who can it be now?
And who can it be now? Who can it? Who can it?
Who can it?
Who can it be now? But I don't know. I've always loved that album.
It's a great album.
Doobie Brothers and Clapton being close to each other are actually two albums that I got introduced mainly from your dad. And
He has a great habit of turning
he
people
does.
on to music.
Into that sort of thing. First time I ever played Long Train Running, I sat in as
Which
a
is
kid.
still, I think, the only song you know all the way through on guitar. Because
Yes.
it's definitely what you
I
check
don't
with
even-
every time.
Who doesn't, right? Yeah. I sat in as a little kid with my first guitar with your dad's band,
Right.
playing that song. It had been a long time since it
Right.
came out or whatever, but his band was playing some classic rock stuff.
That would have
and
been like,
was on
what,
it.
Kamikaze Pilots back then or something?
No,
not then yet?
This was when I don't know when.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was so yeah. I learned a lot of doobies from him. But then,
oh yeah, definitely, he's a big doobie guy.
Eric Clapton. My two Eric Clapton stories with that are that "You Look Wonderful Tonight."
Thank you.
Was I don't know why I keep him around. But Wonderful Tonight was one of the first songs I learned on guitar.
Interesting.
And it also...
See, I thought this was going to be a cocaine story.
No. If you want to get down... No. But
down to the ground?
Down to the ground. Coca-Cola. Anyway, so it was a prom, I think, that we played that at the first time. And I had just traded somebody my Charvel Model 6 shredder guitar for a Candy Apple Red Strat.
Okay, you made a wise choice with that.
And learned how to play Wonderful Tonight in high school.
That's
it
that's
turned
some
out
serious.
It was cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I got into the whole Slow Hand album. Around that time.
That was like girlfriend fodder for like 3 years after that. I'm sure
it was.
That was the whole high school experience covered.
Covered it in one song.
Yeah. That's a smart move, man.
Guys, if you're out there and you want to learn how to play guitar, I highly suggest it's timeless.
It is timeless.
What girl doesn't want to hear that she's wonderful tonight?
I know.
And it's kind of easy to play too. So if I could
let
learn it
the
in high
girls
school,
know that.
Yeah, don't. Oh yeah. Oh shoot! I just let that out of the bag. Daggone it. He's another one, real melodic.
Yeah.
Great songwriter.
Definitely.
He has one of the best blues festivals in the world down in Texas.
He got great tone too.
And he has great tone, and everybody enjoys playing with Clapton.
Yeah. Just not a shredder.
No, but same thing. I guess that's probably kind of my guitar players are kind of like that. If you want to, Hendrix was another one I was going to mention. Even
very vocal.
Even Bob Marley for that matter.
Yeah.
He's known so much just for he's the reggae guy. Bob Marley's a great guitar player.
Yeah, no, he's awesome, and played in a Les Paul Jr. for like all of his career, and made that thing sound.
Standard. He played standard a lot.
He did play standard,
but yeah. I guess some of my favorite guitar players, and it does influence a lot of how I play.
Yeah.
Are the ones who are very vocal. Yeah. And sing along.
Because it's the feeling
of stuff. So that's always just been part of what I like about those guys.
I love that.
Do you want to? I've got one more that I want to get into. You want to pick one more, and then I'll finish up with one?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. So I guess the last one that I'm going to talk about, just because for me, honestly, there's really no American band that has done as much interesting or has done enough, in my opinion, for guitar tone as
Big
this band.
Bonk Pig.
No. Okay. You know what? Hold on. Just to talk about that for a moment.
I don't even know that album.
I don't either. I bought it for $1 and I've never listened to it, but I need to because it looks interesting.
That, and before I want you to get back to what you were started on.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the format of this podcast.
I
like to interrupt a lot. He interrupts me a lot. And
That's
kind of what we do.
Yeah.
ADD.
We're having a conversation.
I did not know there was a Thelma Houston. Is she related to Whitney?
I don't know. They look kind of similar.
And why?
Ish.
Why would anyone? She's got a similar smile, I guess.
Yeah, it's the smile in the eyes.
And it's kind of, she used the same font.
She's the same font. I think she might just be a copycat.
My question is, who is the film director or the photographer that said, "Hey, Thelma, get on all four hands.
Hey, Thelma.
Turn your hands backward in this position and look up and smile."
I think this is a great look for you, Paul.
I don't know. That's probably why we don't know who Thelma is.
That is.
Because of that photo.
Also, can we talk about the weird banana peel thing that's going on right here?
I don't know.
It's a very confusing album.
I feel like she might be on a dock. That's a dock.
It's a dock.
That's
yeah.
what that is. Okay.
So she's on the clearest lake ever.
Okay.
It's so weird.
It might be.
I don't know.
It might be a great album. If she's half
as good as
the
Whitney
singer that Whitney is, I'm a Thelma fan.
Yeah,
already.
same. Honestly, Same with good old Andre Simone right here.
Andre Simone.
He's just a Prince knockoff. Yeah.
There. Or Prince. Yeah, that too.
I did listen to that record.
Yes.
And it is mediocre Prince. That is what that record is.
Which, again, if you're going to be mediocre Prince,
anything,
you're still
be
probably
Prince.
better than most people out there.
That's true. Okay, so the one that I was getting at...
Back to yours.
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan.
And especially Pretzel Logic. Some of the best lead tone ever. Like, I think that his guitar tone is what led the way for 80s rock to be possible, because it's all of that super saturated but no tone ballsy Les Paul stuff, and it sounds amazing to this day. Like, there's really not any other lead guitar tone that I put in the same category sonically is that, for me anyway. I just prefer that sound.
And you talk about complexity in writing and
gosh,
different riffs and all that.
Such intelligence going on.
A lot of intelligent writing going there. My buddy Brian at PRS, and if you watch any PRS guitar demonstration, Brian's the guy behind all of that. And Ewald is his last name. And he does all the demonstrations, but he also is in a Steely Dan tribute band. Now, they don't dress up like it, but they do all the songs. And
the buck teeth is a bit much.
And he gets the privilege of playing those great guitar songs throughout that as well.
Should I tell the classic Steely Dan story that my dad has?
Sure. I think I know it.
Okay. So my dad he was a front man in Washington, D.C., very similar to how you were for a time. And he did some pretty big stuff occasionally. One of the cooler ones was actually not a big deal, really, to anybody else but the people in the room, which was that he was playing a show for the deaf college that was out there. And apparently they used to get real rowdy because they couldn't hear, obviously. So they would get really close to the speakers and dance like the whole night. So this particular club was on the campus, and they just facilitated this sort of all-night like rock marathon that my dad and his band would put on. Well, they played a bunch of Steely Dan songs. And at the end of their set, they just heard all of this like kind of obnoxious applause that seemed very intentionally sort of like campy or like mocking almost in a sense. Okay. But they couldn't see who it was from the stage. Well, as the people got closer, it was Steely Dan, like the band. Wow. And they just were like, y'all actually did well with our songs. Let's play another set and we'll sit in with you.
Pretty cool.
So he got to play with Steely Dan for the deaf college.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty Steely of Dan to do that.
It was.
That's fantastic.
It's pretty neat.
All right. I kind of saved this album for last. Okay. And then I saw another one. I know I said I was only going to do one.
We talked too long about my stuff, so it's fine.
It's completely great. I won't spend much time on it. We do talk about some technical stuff and recording stuff. I will just go out and say that Fleetwood Mac. Oh my gosh, yeah. Arguably the most important albums for recording engineering. Yes. Came through those albums.
Well, and even the stuff that they did with the band before they called it Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. I forget what the name of the band was, but that stuff is even super technically incredible for that time.
Just really great stuff on there. I do like Stevie Nicks. If you did see incredible. If you see on my Instagram, I talk about a strat that I have that call Stevie. Right. And part of it is I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, but I also love Stevie Nicks. Yeah. They both have unique voices, and that particular guitar has a unique voice to it. So it just kind of fit.
That's smart.
For that, but I mean, it would be impossible to talk about this while not talk about how good Fleetwood Mac is on everything from harmonies to songwriting to technical recording.
Yeah,
that took
set
place
the standard for most of that.
Got to see late Fleetwood Mac one time.
Wow.
And at Nissan Pavilion.
I thought that was going to be in Virginia.
I think it was Jiffy Lube now. Sorry, it was Nissan Pavilion at the time up in Virginia. And
it was in Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
and Mick had this bodysuit that he plays. And I was like, I don't know, 10 rows back from the speakers.
Right.
And he would hit the kick drum on his stomach on this vest with little sensors. And your head would, like your hair would literally just pound off your head.
That's
one of the
awesome.
coolest things, though, to see somebody who's a good drummer come out and play themselves as the drum
that's
kit.
super neat.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, the album that I saved for last, probably my favorite singer of all time, one of my favorite guitar players of all time, another melodic guitar player, and probably my favorite all-encompassing catalog of songs is what I'm trying to say, would have to come from the band known as Journey. All right. Is it cliche? Maybe. Boo. Why is it cliche?
Because they're amazing.
It's the greatest music in rock and roll history came from those guys.
Yeah.
No, that may not be true, but
it's impossible to copycat.
I will say Steve Perry is probably the vocalist that I admire the most out of all that, because I can get through a couple of his songs.
Oh, that's more than most can.
And I enjoy singing them, and they feel great to do.
Do they? Or do they feel clenchy?
No, they feel great. They feel great when you're doing them.
Right. Then you realize you're sore from
right. And yes, they might sound like Dr. Pepper commercials of Real Man of Genius or whatever those are. I understand that the music is, from its own era. But what Steve Perry could do vocally, as far as a vocal gymnast, was ridiculous.
Insane.
I don't know how anyone physically sings an entire show of Journey songs. Don't know how they could do it.
His solo stuff was good. Even Sherry is one of his best songs.
Oh, Sherry, to be exact. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was Sherry or Sherry for the title.
Like the right thing to say.
But
I love everything about those Journey records.
They're great.
From every instrument to the songs to the voice.
You can listen to them forever.
It's timeless. And so one of the questions that I've been asked a lot is, okay, you're on a desert island. You get to take one album with you. It's probably Journey's greatest hits. Is probably what I...
So if we were to play that game with this wall, pick three. And we'll both pick three.
I get to pick three records to
three
take with
desert
me.
island records. And we can't have overlapping ones because there's only one copy on the wall. We're making games here.
So I get to pick, and then you can't pick mine.
Right. It'll make it challenging, or more so.
Let me just take another look.
Yeah, give it a good
Oh my
glance.
gosh, Stevie Wonder's back there.
Yes, he is.
I meant to. Songs in the Key of Life.
What a great album. Oh my gosh.
I literally didn't see that one because it's behind me. I probably should have talked about that one first.
So you're taking that one for sure.
Definitely have to take Songs in the Key of Life. Definitely have to take Journey. Although it wouldn't be the Captured album.
Right, no.
It has to be ones off of this wall.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the game.
It's my least favorite Journey album.
Because, I would obviously pick a Paul Simon record, but it would be Graceland, not One Trick Pony. So I'm in the same boat with you.
All right, we're going to go with Songs in the Key of Life.
Yep. Solid starter.
I got to have Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's when you're angsty. You're tired of eating coconuts.
That one. Three?
Three. Yeah, one more.
What did I pick already?
You picked Songs in the Key of Life and Highway to Hell. I know, it's hard.
It's between Fleetwood Mac Rumors and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah. Those are some good choices.
Are we on the island together?
We are.
Okay, so we get to go.
We could share them.
God, the island of us.
I know. Can you
would
imagine?
have to pick the Misfits because it would be the island of Misfits.
It would be.
But I don't know if I can let you have Earth, Wind, and... All right, I'll let you have Earth, Wind. I'm going to go with Rumors.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder, Song in the Key of Life.
All right.
It's really close between Van Halen and AC/DC, and I'm trying to decide.
Which one would you would you listen to for more time? Like if you were able
I gotta go Highway to Hell.
right,
I gotta go Highway to Hell. That's that Rumors and Songs of the Key of Life, I think, get it done for me.
That's real solid. I like
All
that. Okay, so for me, I guess I'm going Pretzel Logic, Steely Dan, Earth, Wind and Fire. And then to be perfectly honest, these Misfits records are fantastic and some of my favorites in the collection, but I've just listened to them so many times. Same thing with the Smiths. Love that record, but have really listened to it way too much. I love the Paul Simon and the Simon and Garfunkel stuff, but it's all live records, so sonically it's not what I want.
Okay.
So what I'm going to go with is the self-titled Elton John record.
Wow, interesting choice. We didn't even talk about Sir Elton John.
But this one has Take Me to Pilot on it, and that is one of my absolute favorite songs he's ever done. It's fantastic.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is we both grew up with some influence, mostly from your father.
Yeah. We shared that. That is a good commonality here.
On, the Santana records, and neither one of us picked a Santana record.
But I think that's because it's just ingrained. Honestly, if either of us were to fashion like a guitar out of a coconut tree, like we would probably just sit there and play Santana licks all day.
Right.
But I wouldn't necessarily go to listen to a Santana record over and over and over again while I'm on the island, because I've done that my entire life already.
Yeah. So for me, like, some of the, there's some great music up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We did not finish a game yet again.
We're so bad at this.
I'm going to take it.
Yeah, take that last shot for us.
Yes,
Hey!
I knocked one of my own in.
All right, you got to take one more.
Does it count, though? Because I hit like 3 other balls that weren't mine before it got to that. I don't think it matters. We're going to call it a day.
That was it.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Share this stuff. Tell people if they like hearing about music, chatting about what's going on. And I guess we're going to find out maybe by the next podcast, we'll know what the new Redskin name is.
That would be cool.
Washington.
Yeah.
What's-who are.
We'll have to give an update.
And stay tuned. Until next time, we'll see you. Peace out. Thank y'all.